These islands are home to a rapidly growing population of beavers. They're actually at the centre of Britain's largest beaver enclosure here at the Trentham estate. And at the end of last summer, I was invited to join along for a beaver safari and spend the day learning about all the brilliant ways Trentham is putting nature first. It was a real pleasure to meet the team, who not only ensure nature can thrive here, but also to see how they make sure Trentham's visitors get to experience and connect with nature too. So let's get started on Trentham's work to bring back beavers. Over the past 20 years, beavers have slowly been coming back to Britain, but here in Staffordshire, it was Trentham who took the initiative to get these amazing animals back for the first time in 400 years. In 2023, a family of beavers was reintroduced right here on Trentham's lake, and they quickly made these islands their home, with a few kits already being born, and there's even more on the way now.
So we'll keep our voices down, just because obviously there'll be beavers sleeping there right now. But that's the main lodge where the baby youngsters for this year would be growing. So the amazing thing is with lodges is we know that they're not just a home to beavers, but they also provide perfect habitats for things like grass snakes that want to hibernate. You get mice living inside them. We think even water voles would probably use them as well.
They're essentially like a big compost pile, aren't they?
Exactly, yeah. Well, we, in wildlife gardening, what's one of the things that you're encouraged to do is to create a bit of a, almost a bonfire-y type, and that's, you're just emulating what beavers do. Just part of our monitoring of the beavers, we like to get trap cameras out with some apples. We want to just monitor their health, see how they're doing, see how the babies are growing. So why don't we get some of those cameras out?
Let's do it
right now. Beavers love apples because obviously there's sugar content. So we're going to pop these apples in front of the camera over here. Can you smell the castoreum? Yeah. Can you smell that smell? So
I quite like it.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. So that's beaver smell. Again, one of the reasons we hunted them was for those scent glands.
Oh right, so that's what that smells like.
Yeah.
Okay. I was always thought, oh, well, like why on earth would humans go after that smell? But now
it's nice, yeah.
But now I can smell it. Yeah, it's like earthy, musky,
Yeah.
With our nostrils full of castoreum and the camera trap set up and rolling, we went off around Beaver Island to get a better understanding of their impact here.
And so you've got where they've taken serious chunks out of that wood, and it's all opening this up. It's opening this up, allowing new rare wetland plants to recolonise, which is really, really good. And you can see this new vegetation is great for things like caterpillars, as it's nice and sappy. Beavers can sometimes be called tree farmers because what they're doing is they're felling that tree in order to stimulate more of this growth, and that growth is a lot more palatable to them than mature trees.
While the islands are where the beavers are calling home, they have a huge area to explore. Trentham has the largest beaver enclosure in the UK. Here in England, while we do have wild beavers, the government haven't approved the release of wild beavers. So allowing beavers to have all of this space really is the next best thing. The beavers had also been working their magic around the edge of the lake.
Now this would have originally been done by our estate team, felling this out, but obviously there's a health and safety risk, there's a cost, there's using fossil fuel tools and all that sort of thing. So by letting the beavers do it, not only do they not require a wage, they don't require biscuits and tea, what it allows is for this animal to do it and do it better as well. Beavers are fundamentally messy, so unlike people which would be cutting this neatly gathering the sticks and moving them or whatever, beavers leave stuff everywhere and it just creates this mess. Can't see it so well now because it's covered in vegetation, but you've got here what's known as a beaver canal. So this is where they've excavated this bit of a water channel in order to get the sticks back into the lake, because beavers want to feed in water if they can. Water is the thing that protects them and allows them to evade predators. They are quite a cumbersome animal, quite a big animal, and so water is their best friend. We know things like frogs will absolutely love to spawn in areas like that where there's shallow water and it's protected. So again, it creates more habitat. But again, if I show you this over here, you may find it a bit hard to see, but underneath this algae here is a vast mat of sticks that the beavers have taken out and placed down here. And what we've seen is our natural fish stock within the lake spawn in these bundles of sticks, and it's this natural sort of fish nursery that the beavers are creating. But the cool part is how that relates also to climate change, because those sticks should in theory sink to the bottom of the silt and not decompose, so get stored, and that stores carbon in the silt of the lake. But if those trees regrow again and grow back to the original height, it takes double the amount of carbon out of the atmosphere. So beavers can be absolutely brilliant for storing carbon and combating sort of climate change, which is just amazing.
Trentham's wildlife rangers are clearly not only passionate but also extremely knowledgeable, and this is shared with their visitors, who are welcome to take a boat ride around the lake and learn all about the brilliant impacts of beavers, but also the other wildlife successes of the estate. Trentham is pretty central to the UK, based in the county of Staffordshire. It's within driving distance of Birmingham, Manchester and Liverpool. And if you wanted to actually see the beavers here in action, you can join along for an evening beaver safari, or the brilliantly named Saturday Night Beaver. Talk to me about Saturday Night Beaver.
So basically we want to get, biodiversity rewilding to a greater audience. So we decided to launch Saturday Night Beaver this year, and it was just immense. I mean, it booked out for the whole year. And basically it's a beaver safari, but with the added benefit of wine and cheese. So our guests come, relax as they watch the beavers frolic in the water. So
later on in the video, once it gets a little darker, we'll be trying our luck at seeing them in action ourselves. So stick around to see grown men getting very excited about beavers. But before that, let's catch up with Duncan, another of Trentham's wildlife rangers, because he's got a teepee and some rather large willow animals to show me. So Duncan, where are we going now, and what happens in this teepee here?
So we're actually going over to see our educational teepee. So a big part of our wildlife work is raising awareness of the wildlife on site, also sharing this amazing space with children and young people locally. So this year we have introduced a new educational program, of which we've got a lovely base, and that's our brand new educational teepee. It's great for them to be able to see, lions in the Serengeti and the rainforest, but to be able to connect to, say, the beavers that we have here, really charismatic native animal, and appreciate that it's actually here in Stoke. We've got the River Trent as well, which is another important aspect of geography and science. This is one of the great rivers of the UK. It is quite small here because we're not far from the source, but it's a great way to learn about rivers and about wetlands and the wildlife that are there.
Yeah, just getting people excited about what we've got, really, which is really important.
I'm really keen on talking and pushing the smaller stuff as well, because the children are really attracted to the furry, cuddly stuff, but things like fungi, invertebrates, these are really important aspects of the ecosystem, which actually, once you start talking to the kids about them, they are really fascinated by them.
Duncan and I then headed up to Trentham's ancient woodland, where we saw lots of old epic trees and fungus, a fascinating and key feature of any old woodland.
Fungi tend to get a bad name, but what they're actually doing is they are hollowing out this tree as it ages, and all that stuff inside is dead material, so it's dead weight. As they hollow it out, they're helping the tree to adapt to an older lifestyle, and also all that wood is being deposited right at the base, so it's also then providing itself with its own rich fertilizer.
I never thought of it that way, really.
It's like when they lose a limb, it's like me dropping a limb so I can feed on it in old age.
Yeah, makes sense.
So up here we try not to move dead wood, because if a tree sheds a limb, that's food for the tree in future years. So we try and leave the dead wood wherever it falls. I've come to the conclusion that trees are potentially the best thing in the entire world.
That's a great
saying. Because if you think about what they give us, they give us wood, they give us shade, they give us beauty, they give us air conditioning for homes now, because if you've got a tree near your home, it's going to cool your home. They give us fruit, they give us paper, they give us resins, they give us oxygen. So I don't think there's anything in the world that is better than trees in reality.
No, not when you put it like that.
That tree, that dead one there, doesn't look like much, but on certain days when the sun hits it, it's like a golden shard.
I can almost see the light coming through here a little bit. You can almost see the way it's creating those shadows. Beautiful. Trentham not only had some amazing old trees, but they also have some pretty important young trees too. Back over on Beaver Island, there's a special project to help a now very rare tree.
And this is what's known as a black poplar. And black poplars are actually the rarest tree, or one of the rarest trees in the whole of the UK. It's thought that we have only a few hundred female black poplars left in the UK. The reason it's so rare is its wood is actually fire resistant. So it was used even in the Middle Ages, medieval times, to create chests to store documents in that wouldn't get burnt. But it also requires beaver wetlands. So that's why we've reintroduced it here, is because it should do really quite well from beavers. The reason is that they will cut this up. Obviously it's protected, I should say. We've protected them until they get established. Beavers will cut these up into pieces, and then these pieces will readily resprout within water. But also its seeds likes the sort of muddy pond edges that beavers create, which is really, really important. So we've reintroduced it as part of a partnership between Trentham and Chester Zoo, and actually probably second to the beavers, this is the reintroduction I'm most excited about, even though it isn't as sort of captivating as a beaver, but it's equally just as important.
As dusk began to set in, it was time to get set up around the bank of the lake, with our eyes firmly on Beaver Island, and it wasn't long before they began to emerge.
Even though literally, I mean, I've tried to calculate the amount of hours. I mean, it's at least a couple of days a week I will actively see them in person. Every single time we see them, it just feels like the first time. It's crazy.
Joining us for the evening beaver spotting was Nick, the river restoration manager from the Staffordshire Wildlife Trust.
Every other county seems to be having them, so we've been waiting a long time. So it's really exciting. Congratulations to the Trentham Estate for being brave and getting it done. What we're really waiting for now, and we've been waiting for quite a few years now, is the green light from government to invite applications for wild releases, and that would be the sort of next step, I think, the really exciting next step. But I'm impatient, I'm quite late on in my career. I can't wait forever. It's got to be soon, please.
So we actually think that we've just seen potentially the adult female and then one of the baby tiny beaver kits, so it's just really, really cool to see. The mum seemed to go out and then sort of do a U-turn and then go back to the baby kit, so we're just going to keep our eye on that now and see if they show any more, but it's really, really cool sighting.
She was big, wasn't she?
Yeah, massive. I mean, she weighed in at something like 30 kilos when she was released, so that's, Labrador sized. It's like a dog swimming through the water. It's pretty cool.
It really was the perfect way to end a great day. If you're interested in visiting Trentham, I'll leave a link to them in the description. And if you want to support Leave Curious and get an inside look into the channel, become a member over on Patreon. This is on the screen now. If you want to keep watching the channel, then check out the video as well. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Leave Curious.